Oh, am I in? Am I on? Hello, everybody. Greetings. I don't have quite the light I usually have today because I don't know why. Nothing is charging. But good evening. I'm not used to doing so many lives, and so, you got to bear with me. I did a spontaneous live, another one this afternoon, just to do some breathing and some visualizing. And so, somebody wants me to invite them as a guest, but I don't know who that is. Because I have two people who already said they were going to guest tonight, but I will keep you in mind. I just, give me a minute, because since I've already invited these other people, I don't want to make them wait. So we'll see if they're here. But, I've been coming on here for like almost 2 hours, so we should have time to have a few different people join me. So some of you may already know, I've been trying to get some other Dreaming Women to guest host with me, and then I wasn't able to because I hadn't met the requirements on TikTok, and so it took me like 5 videos to qualify. So I believe tonight I'm qualified, but we will see. We will see. And I can't remember the person who said invite me. I'm sorry, I just don't remember you, so I don't know if we've already talked. And since I'm new to the live thing, I'm being a little cautious. So here's another person who wants to join, Ronnie Lou, and I don't know you either. So just give me a moment, because I invited Dana to join me from Somatic Magic Money. She's amazing, and I invited. I've had a long-standing invitation for Gia. She has tried to guest with me the other night, and then also is it Jana, who's also, I invited her as well. So I am going to be just inviting as many Dreaming Women as I can to guest with me. And so if you're one of those people, just bear with me while I want to go in order of the people that I invited, and then after that I'll bring people up who I haven't invited yet. But and I want to see if my moderators are here. I've got 3 or 4 moderators. But I've been going live every day, so I don't know how available they are. So let's see if they're here. And if not, yeah, Jana Key. Jana Key is, I've invited her, so I hope she'll be able to join us. She's amazing. So we'll see. I mean, it's early. We just started the live. So, let me see if I can read who that is. Jan's Dragon, great name. I love these 6 o'clock sessions. Thank you. I'm so glad that you do. Yeah, I just felt called to do them this week, after that difficult day. And Roni's asking, am I safe? I am safe. I'm, for those who don't know, I'm in Southern California, and we have 4 fires right now in Southern California. It's pretty scary. Although we often have fires, it's never been like this. This is historic. These are, they really don't compare to past fires. And, my god sister lost her house last night, her family homestead. The whole family had to leave, and luckily they got the dogs and the cat. They got everybody out. Everyone's safe, but it's just devastating to lose this family home. And I'm safe because I'm far enough away, and I'm also located. I don't want to say where I live, but so maybe I won't say more about that. But I just I'm worried about other people. I'm worried about family members who I have in LA, and what they're going through. And some of them are in the territory, and some are a little too close for my comfort. And my sister said, stop stressing, because she's 30 miles from the closest fire. And I can't help but to worry though. But thanks for asking. Yeah, and I have a lot of friends who are evacuated. So please keep sending your prayers to Los Angeles. A lot of people are really going through it. You know, because our year wasn't hard enough already, right? We had to have some extra ugly plot twists. So you don't know if you saw, I did a funny post today about who is writing this episode of this show, right? Our show, our national show. It's got some really bad writers. Oh, great. So one of my moderators said she can pin comments. Thank you. And so, yeah. And thank you, Iris. Oh my God, you're helping me again. You've been awesome. I have like 3 or 4 moderators. If anyone else wants to step up, let me know, because I don't want them to feel overworked. You know, people have just volunteered and I've been very fortunate. Right, Ellen? Such bad writers, right? Who are these bad writers? So we got to rewrite this episode, right? We've got to rewrite it. That's what we have to visualize. We have to visualize. We have to really, you know, bring about a better future. And Ronnie says she wishes she... I don't know how to moderate either. I'm new to all this, and I'm just learning as I go. And oh, McKinley wants to help moderate. I will take all the help I can get. So let me try to add you. And let's go to my moderators. And there we are. Let's see who we have. Oh, does that mean Janaki is here? Okay, because I added her as a moderator just because she told me to do that first. I don't know why, because I guess it's easier then to have her as a guest. Who knows? Now I've already forgotten who I'm adding. That quick. Because I guess it's easier then to have her as a guest. Who knows? Now I've already forgotten who I'm adding. That quick. Because I guess it's easier then to have her as a guest. Who knows? Now I've already forgotten who I'm adding. That quickly. Ad just called. McKinley. See, I was thinking of Jana Key and then McKinley. I mixed it up. So I'm going to add this new moderator. And, you know, I don't even know who I'm adding, but I'm just having trust. Because I've been very well... Oh, how come you're not coming up? Okay, hold on. I'm doing something wrong. Let me go back to your name again. All right. Okay, maybe I'll do that later. Because, oh, here we go. Here you are. So here's McKinley. Let me go to your name. And then go to the 3 dots. And then I can add you that way. Okay, so I just added you, McKinley, so thanks for helping out. I appreciate it. You know, I think I feel when I come on these lives that I have to just, you know, answer all the questions and give lots of information. And I was realizing I just need to chill out a little bit. You know, because it's not like this is the only live I'm doing. So, you know, I'm going to chill out a little bit. Sometimes I'm like that when I'm learning something new. I get all excited and then I just, you know, want to do everything. So, we're going to do a couple things today that kind of the same things we do every day. And that's, we're going to do a little visualizing, a little breathing and meditating. And then I'm going to answer questions. But I also want to talk a little bit about some new information I got. And I haven't really been posting as much, you know, for various reasons that, you know, have nothing to do with me. But I've been going live instead. And what's nice about going live is I'm able to save the recordings and then post them on YouTube. And so I now have 2 2-hour lives up on YouTube. And so if you want to go back and watch those, you can. We do tend to cover a lot of stuff, I think. I answer a lot of questions and then I talk about different things that are inspired by you. I miss your posts. Yeah. I want to get back to it, but it's like they were threatening to take away my account. So I just felt like I needed to lay low and you know, I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. Like I keep getting strikes and stuff. And I just, you know, if I was doing something, if they would tell me what I was doing wrong, I would stop doing it. But I just don't know what it is. It's really frustrating. And so, yeah, listen to Catnip, you know, use the code words because I don't want to lose my account. My guides really want me doing this work. So I'm trying to do whatever I can to do this work. You know, my account is not monetized currently because I decided maybe that was opening me up to more of those strikes. And so, because I didn't come on here to make money, I came on here to help with the current situation we're in. And so I really appreciate the people. Some people have sent me donations on Venmo, which is really cool. And then, oh, I should tell you about this. This is so crazy. I started getting payments from people, and it turned out that some of them were paying me money because they thought I was doing readings, because there's so many fraudsters out there pretending to be me, and they're trying to get money from people. And some people are smart, so they go to I guess they knew to go to my account and look up my Venmo. And then I'm getting these texts saying, oh, can you send me my money back? I got scammed. And so now I'm having to like keep checking my Venmo to send people money because of these scammers. So the other day I got $50 and I was like, oh, I got this great donation. I'm going to go out to eat. And then a couple hours later, can you send me my money back? Okay, and I'll get to your questions. Yeah, possibly Gen X, or you might be right. But the targeting. And yeah, so if you get any messages from me saying that I'm offering readings, no, it's not me. I'm not offering readings at this time. I'm actually on a sabbatical from doing medical intuition sessions right now. I'm just teaching and writing books. And I'm not going to send you any messages offering anything or asking for money. But you know, at any one time, I'm told there's at least 12 other accounts pretending to be me. And I just hope that nobody's getting scammed. I think it's so unfortunate that the platform doesn't do anything about this, because, you know, they should. Especially when people are, you know, losing money. I don't know if they are. Yeah, so this is for entertainment purposes only. And so I wanted to, you know, I got a whole lot of information last night. I can't share all of it. And so I'm just going to share a little bit today, but I'll keep sharing every day. I'll share some, you know, or as I can. But I can tell you that I feel so much better after getting all of this information, because there was a couple of days there where I wasn't getting new information. And that's always hard when a couple days go by and there's no new information. So like I went into a 2-hour meditation the day of the big conclave of the decision makers, when we were expecting something and we didn't see anything. And I went into a 2-hour meditation and I didn't get any new information that day. I just got healing. They just kept sending me healing, and I got some integration and some upgrades. You know, they just worked on me. And I've noticed some other dreaming women were saying the same thing, that they were getting a lot of energetic resets the last couple days. And so, yeah, so that happens. Like a lot of times, you know, there are certain times when I ask my guides, oh, can you enlighten me on this subject? And they'll say, no, we're going to do healing instead. And, you know, a lot of us, you know, we're doing this work. I mean, I've been doing this work every day since November 7th. And it's kind of a lot, you know. I mean, I love doing it. I love being of service. But it can be a lot, you know, for the body. And so I think that's why sometimes people are, my guides are like, no, you're not doing that today. So last night I got this major transmission of a lot of information. And, you know, what I do, my process is I go into meditation, I go into a trance state, and then I move out of my body and I go into other realms. And I go into different rooms. It's not always the same. It depends on, who wants to talk to me and what type of information. And so I get information, and then what I do is, because of the way I work, everyone works differently, we all have different gifts. And I have a lot of different ways that I work, but this is the way that I work now. And this is after, decades of being trained by people and working with my spirit teachers. And so, a lot of people don't work the same way I do because we're all really unique. And so, the way I work is, I'm in this kind of out of body state, but the way I work, I'm able to go kind of in and out, in and out, in and out like this. And I think that I learned how to do that because I was working one-on-one with people, and I needed to be able to go and get information and come back and speak it to my client and go and get information. And so I go in and out, and which is a little hard in the body to do that. I don't really recommend it. Most people aren't supposed to work that way, but I was told I could work that way, but only a limited amount. I can't do it all day, every day. And so what I do is when I'm doing this, I record myself. And so I basically, narrate what I'm experiencing, and whatever I hear, whatever conversation I'm having, I narrate it into the recorder, and then I transcribe it, and then I look over it. And so I've transcribed last night's session, but I haven't gone over all of it, so I'm just going to share a little bit of it. I'm going to stop here for a minute and answer a question. Debbie wants to know if I know when I'm going to start up again, because she, I think, wants a reading. Yeah, here's the funny thing about that. I stopped doing sessions a while ago because my guides told me to, and so many people were contacting me, and I felt so bad about it that I started a waiting list. And I probably shouldn't have done that, because that was just me, feeling bad. It wasn't me knowing that I was going to be able to see these people anytime soon. And so I created this waiting list, and then there ended up being, over a course of time, like 400 people on this waiting list. And so I closed down the waiting list, because I said, I can't have all these people hoping that they're going to be able to have a session with me, and I don't even know if and when I'm going to be able to do sessions again. So, I live a life where my guides tell me what to do, and I listen for the most part. And, that can, it can be challenging, but they're always right. We don't always see it right away, Like, sometimes it doesn't seem to make sense to us. Like, why would I give up this, practice that was quite successful, where I was helping so many people? Why would I give that up and just stop? But they wanted me to do that. They wanted me to pivot to the global. I was working with all these individuals. I was also teaching lots of classes in lots of different locations throughout California. I was flying from Northern California to Southern California every month. I had apprentices. I had ceremonies I was running. I had clients in lots of different cities. I was seeing clients all over the world online, and I was just doing too much, really. And they were like, well, I had a bad car accident, and I was injured, and I literally couldn't work. But then they said to me, you're not going to do this work for a while because you're pivoting. And so what I did was because of the way I was injured, it affected my speech processing and my speech, but it did not affect my writing as much. And I had been working on a book, and so I pivoted to just working on my books. And so I've had 2 books published in the last couple years, and I'm working on my 3rd book right now. And I'm also teaching courses, but only in a global context. So I teach classes on the Shift Network, which is this network where students sign up from all over the world. So I've had students from all over, which has been awesome. And then I also have some classes on my website that are just on-demand type classes, online classes that anyone can take. And so, again, anyone in the world can take them. And so that's been my focus lately is writing books and teaching just a few large courses. You know, so I have like a couple hundred students in my classes, and I publish under the name Jennifer Lisa Vest. So that's my full name, Jennifer Lisa Vest. You'll see it in my profile, and that's also the handle for my YouTube and my Venmo and whatnot. Ethical Psychic, I got this name because that's the name of my first book. Let me go get it. So this is my book that came out in 2022. And so, you know, I originally created this TikTok just to promote the book. Like my publisher's like, oh, you know, you might want to do some publicity because we don't have a huge publicity marketing budget. Because that publisher for that book is like a medium-sized publisher. They're not one of the big fives. They publish like 50 books a year. So yeah, I started doing TikToks about my book, and you know, I have TikToks just, you know, with little baby lectures about, you know, what is clairvoyance, what is claircognizance, you know, just little teaching videos, and that's what I did on YouTube too. I do a lot of meditations. I do a lot of just little educational videos about this work, about working as a psychic or a healer. Okay, so let me get to another question. Have your guides told you anything for the general public? Yes. So let me get to that. So this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm a storyteller, and what I do is I tell stories about my dreams. And so let me tell a couple of dreams I've had recently. One dream I had last night, which was amazing, and it's, you know, I was sleeping and I was woken up, as we all are, in the middle of the night. Like, this is our new normal, right? Just to get woken up like almost every night with something. And I woken up in the night last night, and it was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was the most amazing thing, but I woke up and my room was filled with stars, like little lights or stars, or like, you know, O bags, right? But like tiny, but just like hundreds of them. And I had the most amazing feeling, like of love and of protection, like they were there for me. And it was so amazing. And so I grabbed my recorder, right? My phone, I record on my phone. I grabbed my phone, which I keep by the bed, because I'm like, oh, let me record. Because what I noticed when I looked at the clock was it was 2:30 in the morning. And I had only gone to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I had a very strong sensation that I had been asleep for many, many hours. I was that, like, in a deep sleep. And I knew it had not been a half an hour. And so I knew that something had happened. I knew that I had probably traveled, you know, maybe with them to their vehicle or whatever. I had definitely had an experience. Because you know how you can tell, right? When it's like when you're at the end of your day and you've been working for 8 hours, you know you haven't been working for half an hour, right? And so that's what it felt like. And so then I got my recorder out and I'm like, oh, let me see if I can access it, if I can access the memory of what happened. And just as I was speaking into the recorder, I said, oh, oh yeah, I said something happened, let me record it. And then right when I was saying, oh yeah, so right when I was saying the A word that we're not allowed to say, like for star beings, I went to listen to the recorder later and it cut off at the A word, which is so bizarre. So whatever I said, it just didn't record it. And that's what they'll do sometimes. If they don't want us, this will happen to me. Technology, you know, like I record stuff all the time, never have issues. And every once in a while, when I have an issue, it's always in a meaningful situation. Like, we don't want you talking about that. Or I'll have a recording and it will disappear. But I'll have 100 other recordings that are fine. But then there'll be this one. So that was the first story I wanted to tell you, that story. And I wish I had more to tell you, but I think just, I came on here earlier today and I saw another dreaming woman saying something about how we're all being protected by the O bags. And as soon as she said it, I'm like, exactly. That was like the message I got last night was, I'm protected, like they're here with us. And it was beautiful because I think I was kind of complaining a little bit in my head the other day about, yeah, I talk to them all the time, but I have to go to them. Why don't they come to me? And so sometimes when we do that, right, when we like have, you know, intuitive, you know, we start thinking about things or we start asking for things, that they'll happen. And so I think that's why they showed up, because I was kind of complaining that I always had to go to them. You know, it's like when you have friends, you always have to go to their house and they never come to your house. So I was like, come to my house. Okay, let's see if there's another question. I have another story, so I can keep telling stories. Somebody tell Donna what it is, because I can't. I have to use code words. So there's like Dior bags, and then there's Oscar de la Renta bags. So you know the first letter tells you. So I was gonna tell another story about, we don't have a new question, so I'll keep answering that question. How many people do we have here? Oh, we have 300. Oh, look, right when I put my glasses on, I got sunglasses. Thank you for the gifts. Yeah, D-bags are a totally different group. So the gist, you know, like I said, I can't really share a lot yet, but I'm gonna tell you a couple of things that are just reassuring. One is that they explained everything. They allowed me, I asked if I could go kind of remote view, and I was able to visit, oh no, my sister keeps calling. Now I'm worried. Okay, I gotta pause the live, because if she keeps calling, that means something's wrong. All right, sorry about that. She's okay. So let me get back to my story. So I'm just telling stories here, entertainment purposes only. But I just wanted to say that the main thing was, yeah, let me go back through what I got. So they were allowing me to kind of remote view. Some of you may have heard of that term. It's, you know, it's kind of just a let's not even get into that. That's a side story. Let's just say they were allowing me to clairvoyantly travel and go and kind of look in on things. And so I was able to look in on Dark Brandon. I was able to look in on our Lotus Queen. I was able to look in on the Naked Emperor. And I was able to look in on someone else. Another one of the big characters. Forgetting now all of our... We have so many characters in this story. It's hard to keep track of all the characters. So... And I was also able to look in on some international realm type meetings, and the overall impression I had at the end of this dream was that I had a more comprehensive understanding of everything. I also felt more confident about the outcome, but I also felt like I understood better why it's taking so long. And so I want to discuss that, but I have to do it very carefully, using, you know, very careful words. So bear with me on that. And, you know, some of our moderators and people in the chat, you know, just explain things to people if they're confused. Try to find a clever way, right, to explain things so that we don't get in any trouble. So the gist of it was that the situation is extremely complicated, and very delicate. And it's like there's a lot of balls in the air. Like there's a juggler who's juggling a lot of balls. And if the juggler isn't careful, if they're not really paying attention to all the balls at once, then they're going to drop a ball. And in this scenario, all of the balls are important. And so we have a whole lot of different people who are working together on the resolution and the ultimate revelation. And but the reason that they haven't been able to take action in the way that we would like to see is because there's some dangerous possible repercussions. And so you may recall that in one of my earlier vids, I talked about Plan B, right? So remember our characters, Rasputin and Starboy, are two big villains. I mean, we have a lot of villains in this story, right? Too many, really. Too many villains for one story. But we got a couple. You remember the 7 thieves from my story? We got Rasputin, we got Starboy, and we got some other thieves, and they're all helping the Naked Emperor. Well, the Naked Emperor is really not the villain he seems. He's the puppet. And so he's like a sub, what's the word for that in a story? And you know how they do that in stories sometimes? Well, they'll make you think that one person is the villain, and then you'll be all focused on them, and then it turns out there's a much worse villain like behind them pulling the strings. This is our scenario. And so, yes, I'm distracted by these questions. So we have a question by Treehead, and I can't say what your question is, but Theos is also one of the merchants or the thieves. So please use code words. I guess that person did that because I didn't know what. But even if you don't know the code word, try to be clever in your questioning, just so we don't get in any trouble. Because I don't know what we're allowed to say or not say, so we're just being super careful. Somebody wants to turn off the comments during storytelling, so I won't be distracted. Okay, I'm going to try not to be distracted. It's the teacher in me. I always want to answer questions. I love answering questions. So it's a very complicated situation. So I'm going to just remind you, in the story, in an earlier chapter, I talked about how these villains, Naked Emperor, and the other thieves, Starboy, Theos, Bozo the Clown, and Rasputin, and there's one more that I haven't named yet, that their plan A was the finagling of the joust in order to create a certain outcome that they thought was in alignment with their agenda. But what was revealed to me is that there's a plan B. And everyone's playing chess. And so it's not just that the blue team is playing chess, the red team is also playing chess. And I don't think I really knew this until last night. I think a lot of times we underestimate the red team because the majority of the red team is represented by people who are not fans of books. And so we sometimes forget that some of these major villains in our story are actually highly educated, and they do have complex plots. and so it was shared with me in this dream, in the next chapter of the story, that there's this fear of Plan B. And because of this fear of Plan B, the blue team is being very, very careful. Not just the blue team, lots of realms around the world are being careful because of the threat of Plan B. And Plan B has to do with the Sky Eyes, it has to do with technology. And it has to do with, can't think of a word for that, but, discord. And so they were showing me that they have to pick exactly the right time to make decisions to minimize the possibility or effectiveness of Plan B. And I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. It's just that I have to talk about it in these terms. And but I found this reassuring. So that's the only reason I'm sharing it with you, because I don't want to share stuff that's going to make people fearful or nervous. We're already fearful enough, right? We don't need any additional fear. What we need is hope and reassurance, but also understanding, right? And I feel like I understand it better because I feel like I have more faith now in our leaders. Because I think a lot of people are feeling just so disappointed with the blue team. Like, oh, they let us down. They're not fighting for us. They're just rolling over. They're just giving up. And people are feeling understandably discouraged. And I'm just not seeing that. That's not what was shown to me in the most recent chapter of this story. In my most recent dream, I was shown that... So if people who just joined, I'm answering a question right now. I'm answering a question about what I learned last night in my most recent dream, and what's going on in the the next chapter. And so I felt very reassured, because I felt like, well, now I know that they're looking out for us, and they're not just sitting on their hands. They're not just giving up. They're not idiots. They're playing chess, and it's quite strategic, and it has. And so what I kept being told in this dream, and this is for entertainment purposes only, but what I kept being told in this dream is that they just keep crunching the numbers, and they're trying to make a decision based on the data. And it's like a computer that you input all the data and then you look at all the possible scenarios. They're doing that type of work. And they're looking for the scenario with the least amount of discord. And that's why the timing is what it is, because the timing is based on that data. And I did not get a date, but I will remind people that I have been told in the past that the 9th was significant, and I just want to put a disclaimer with that. I don't typically get dates. I get other types of information, and so every time an important date comes along, I feel excited with everybody. I just tune into everyone's excitement, and I'm excited, but I don't really have, I can't say if something's going to happen on that day. But I've just been feeling a lot of energy around the 9th. So I'm feeling really good about that day, about something significant happening in the story. And, and actually, a lot of dreaming women haven't been giving particular dates. And, you'll find that a lot of precogs or, seers, prophets, people who see the future, a lot of times they're not going to give dates, because we understand that the future's in flux. And, there's so many, because we have free will, there's so many moving parts that it's hard to pin down things in the future and be accurate. Of course, some people are really good at that. I'm not saying that that's not something that some people can do, but it's not something that I do. And I should just, remind people who are wondering, precognition is not my primary thing. I'm a medical intuitive. I have a lot of gifts. I'm a medium. I can astral travel. I can read the Akashic records. I do have a lot of gifts, but that's not my main thing. My main thing is healing work, is medical intuition. But what has happened to me in my life is that at certain times in my life, my guides decide that this is the work that they want me to do. And so this happened during the pandemic, where I was giving messages about that on my podcast. And then it happened November 7th, that they said, this is the work that we want you to do. And I guess the 9th is already tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, Iris is asking, should I turn comments off? No, because, when I'm in a live situation like this, it's not going to be the same as when I'm in a video just telling a 10-minute story, because I'm kind of, when I sit down to make a video, you know, it's more very structured and okay. But when I do the lives, I kind of want to be free to tell stories, answer questions, explain things. I don't want to feel as that I'm confined. And I don't want people to feel like they're coming here and they can't ask their questions. I mean, it's a live, so there's hundreds of people, and so of course I'm not going to see all the questions, and I'm not going to answer all the questions. But I think it's good for you to be able to ask them. And sometimes I see a question and I don't have time to answer it, but then it's in my mind, and then I think I answer it later. I might answer it later in a video or in the next live. So, you know, I'm here for you, and so what you want to know is important. Of course, I'm also here for my guides, and so I have to deliver what my guides have said to deliver. And then, you know, of course, I'm a indigo, starseed, neurodivergent ADHDer, so, you know, plopping all around is kind of my thing too. I don't have to do that. I know how to. I actually am very good at focusing. I've had to learn. It detracts from the story, according to Evie Davis. She said she'd rather just hear the story. Evie, I don't know if it's a him or a her or a Z, but sometimes I just see the name and I give it a pronoun. I shouldn't do that. It's just a habit. So, oh, who's Jessica? Why would dreams be scary? Actually, I should wait for a question. Oh, Iris has pinned. People were asking me too. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if we pause the comments, would everybody be able to answer their question? You know? And the thing is, yeah. Let me go back to the newest chapter and see if I've shared everything that I want to share. And yes, Donna, we can collectively change the future outcome. That's why my guides have been saying for so long that it's so important. It's so important for us to visualize. This is why I've been jumping on here in the middle of the day every day and just doing these short little meditations to help people visualize, because it's really important. I just keep being told that we are powerful and we have the ability to change the outcome with our visualizing. And I mean, that's something a lot of us probably already knew, and maybe you've been told this. It's certainly something that I think I thought I knew. But these last few weeks, because I keep getting that message again and again, I just believe it even more. And in fact, it was because of that message that I was feeling very nervous about the 6th, because some of the things that I've been told, didn't kind of line up with the 6th. Like, I was told we were going to have to go through some things, some not so pleasant things, before we got to the outcome we wanted. And as of the 6th, we hadn't. I mean, we had gone through angst, but we hadn't gone through things out in the world that I had seen. I was also told that it was all about the people, that it wasn't going to be some caped crusader coming and saving us, but it was going to be a combination of a lot of people working together, including us. And I was feeling like, well, we haven't really done that yet. I mean, to some extent we have. I mean, the Dreaming Women have been doing some work since this, since after the electrical storm. And some people are in the big city, Jessica and I have some friends who are in feminist uprising who were there trying to get the ERA passed. There's different people doing different things. There were petitions, there were letters being sent. And so people are doing things. We're all doing things. But I felt like we probably need to do more. Like there probably needs to be more community, more collaboration, more activities, if you know what I mean, more coordination, and before we get to that outcome. And also recall that in a previous chapter of this story that we were told that there was going to be something big that happened of a national society nature, society not being the real word, but a national society incident was going to happen prior to, and possibly related to, but prior to, well, it's definitely related to, sorry, scratch possibly, prior to the resolution of the joust. And recall that we were told that it would be so big that it would be more important to us than the joust, which is hard to imagine. But that's what I've been told. And so when we think about all of these things that we've been told in previous stories, it kind of makes sense that that particular date, the 6th, wasn't going to be the date, as disappointing as that is. Now, in the newest chapter, where I was shown how complicated it is, I was reminded of the international nature of the situation. And I was reminded of the ultimate goal of some of these characters. So like when we look at the arc of some of our villains in the story, we have to understand the motivation of these characters, and the motivation of these characters is world domination. And this really changes the story significantly, right? Because prior to the joust, we had people getting up and talking about what they had planned, what they were planning as leaders. And we had the naked emperor getting up on the microphone and saying, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And the focus was on a couple of main issues, like, the shekels, and then also the movement of people across borders. These were the main issues, supposedly. And what we've seen after the electrical storm, what we've seen just yesterday, and also in the last few weeks since the joust ended, is that we've seen a shift away from those concerns to this preoccupation with world domination. You know, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Denmark, was UK in there too? I can't even keep up. So this is what was shown to me again in the most recent dream, is that the motivation of these characters, the 7 thieves, we have to pay attention to that, because it doesn't match the conversation that was being had about the joust before the joust. It's a very different motivation, right? And when we understand that motivation, it allows us to expand and see the situation in a very different way. It's not about these 2 candidates. It's not about these domestic issues. Greenland, right, Greenland. I forgot Greenland. Poor Greenland. You know, Greenland is 92% indigenous people, right? So it's just one more example of colonization. That's another topic, but I feel very strongly about it. Which I think is part of why they want that, because for those who don't know, the Naked Emperor has an extremely troubling track record on Native peoples. But back to the current story. When we see that the motivation of these characters, the seven thieves, the merchants, the villains, when we see that their motivation is not about our realm, it's not domestic, it's global, changes everything. And once we understand this, we then are able to understand why it's taking a while and how much is at stake and how much more is at stake than we even imagined. And that's why there are a lot of parties who are invested in changing the outcome. A lot of parties. And I keep emphasizing that. Every time I come on here, I keep emphasizing the number of organizations and parties and powerful persons who are aligned with us in seeking to make sure that this outcome is not the outcome. And I'm feeling really overcome with emotion. So I'm going to stop there in terms of the storytelling. I'm going to take some questions, but I got to take a minute. And we all do, you know, we all need to take a minute. We all need to give ourselves time to feel what it feels like to be incarnated into this moment in time where we have taken on a really big responsibility. And on the one hand, it's a beautiful thing that we're the type of souls that volunteered for this mission, right? It takes a lot of courage to incarnate into this moment in the history of the world. And so just remember that about yourself, that you're here for a reason, and you're like top tier. You're one of the top tier souls. That's when they were picking out volunteers, they said, okay, you can handle this. A lot of souls can't handle this, but you can handle this. And I just want to remind you of that because I feel reminded of that often, you know, for myself, but also for you. For me, it's been so clear to me since November 7th that I was born for this. And I've done so many things in my life. You know, I'm not young. And I'm doing so many things. I'm involved in so many things that I thought were important. But you know, nothing compares to this. And I know some people will look at me sideways and be like, oh, you're just going on TikTok. Like, what's the big deal? But it's not about TikTok. It's not about YouTube. It's not about social media. It's about being here as a storyteller and as a dreaming woman at this time in history to work with others who are also dreaming this dream to help us shift to this higher level. Uh-oh, there's a fake ethical psychic trying to join as a guest. Is that right? It looks just like me. But they have their name is misspelled. It's one of the people who are pretending to be me and taking people's money. That's so sad. That is bold of them, right? Oh, I want to answer Linda's question. Oh yeah. Oh, so actually, I've been talking for a while. I don't know how long. Has it really been almost an hour? I wanted to bring some other dreaming women up. Are any of them here? The ones that I've already invited who already said they wanted to speak, like Dana or Gia. Oops. Unable to verify. I'm a robot, that's why. I failed the robot test the first time. I always fail the robot test. Yeah, so if there's some dreaming women here that I invited, if Dana, are you here? Is Gia here? Is Jana here? Oh, Gia's in TikTok jail. Yeah, we've all been in it for so long. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Dana, I really wanted Dana to join me. She's been trying to join me for a couple days. Dana Stovern, she's been, if you don't follow her, please do. Her name is The Magic of Somatic Money, or Dana Stovern. No, TikTok is not going away. At least I don't feel a ban going into effect. I could be wrong, but I don't feel it going into effect. And so, yeah, I don't know. I did, let me check to see if she, I did message her, I think. But we've been trying for a couple of days, certain people. And so, if none of the people I invited are available, do I think Miss Slovenia knows? I'm trying to guess what that means. Are we talking about the Empress? The Naked Empress? Let me see if I can see if she texted me back. Hold on. So if we're talking about that, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do think she knows. Oh, okay. So Jana Key said she's too tired to do it tonight. And then let me see if I heard back from nope. I haven't heard from Dana. Do I have her? All right. That's funny. She doesn't seem like she would care. Yeah, Magical Mimi. I think also I invited her. I don't know if she's here. Oh yeah, and Empress CJJ. I'd love to work with her. I don't think she does lives, but I have messaged her. Let's see. Have I messaged her lately? There's just so many. Oh, there she is. Dana. So I just hit the invite. Okay, so are you there? Dana!
Can you see me?
We can't see you.
Because I hit can you hear me?
I can hear you. How do we get your camera on?
Let's see. You'll connect using, no, I want, there. Save.
Yes, Dana.
Let's see. Let me turn you up. This is kind of perfect. Like yesterday I was completely wiped out with those sign changes, and today I was out running around and I'm like, I gotta do video tonight. So this is like, I'm standing in my video spot and I'm like, your message came across, so this is perfect.
Now, are we live yet, or is it just us?
I don't know.
Because I don't see the people anymore.
Okay.
Hold on. Real time. Oh, no, that's the wrong button. I don't see the ticker tape anymore. So I don't know if they're here.
Cancel. No, I see the ticker tape. It's going. Oh, okay. I see people like, they're like, yeah, we see you. You're live.
Okay. For some reason, my screen has all these boxes and I can't see the ticker. I can only see like all these boxes. So I'm
Yeah,
probably
I see all the boxes and I can see folks like right underneath.
okay. I know that sometimes I can see more of the comments. That's okay. We don't have to look at the comments right now because you're here.
I'm here. I'm
So
here.
let me say a few words of introduction about why I invited you in particular. I mean, of course, I wanted to talk to all the dreaming women, but I invited you because I have just been so surprised at how similar our information is. You know, like whenever I go look at when I first started looking at your videos, I was like, oh my God, she's the only person on here who's getting the same stuff I'm getting. And so I have just felt a connection with you because of that. And I'm also just really impressed with the way you work. If people haven't seen Dana's work, please go follow her. The Magic of Somatic Money. She's a master pendulum user. In addition to being a psychic, she can tell us more about herself. But you see a lot of people with pendulums, and a lot of people don't know how to use pendulums. And you'll see them, and you'll see their arm moving. And it's like, what are you doing? And it's probably they don't realize they're doing it, right? It's probably subconscious. I don't think they're fraudsters. I think they just don't realize that they're moving it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you really do it in such a systematic way. It's so impressive.
Well, thank you for just such a lovely introduction. And I've been on a platform for about, oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh, I touched the screen and it changed.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. No, so yeah, I've had a platform for about 2 years, but I really truly believe like Spirit Team has been hiding me. And then they had me do that one video that went viral. I literally thought like 500 people would see it, and like, over 300,000 people saw it. I was like, oops.
That was amazing.
Kind of being in the community at first was like a little bit overwhelming. And so when you came through, that was just so friendly and so wonderful. And that made me feel at home. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, I started telling people about you as soon as I found you because I was like, wow.
Well, yeah. Thank you. And on the pendulum stuff, the crazy weird thing about the pendulum is like, I have been doing it for so long, so frequently, I don't even think about it. I don't even think about it as a thing. It's just, some weird, strange thing that I do. And then when I realized, oh my God, I can apply this to what's going on with, the contest, and then bring it in and show people. And all of a sudden I began to realize, like, Dana, this thing that you do with the pendulum, like it's something. And I've been watching my own audience. Like there was a lady that came through and she's like, yeah, I took my necklace off and I started using it as a pendulum. And she's like, it freaked me out because it worked. And I've had other people beginning to do that. I'm beginning to realize, because I've never thought like I could teach pendulum or dowsing. Like that's something, other people do. And I'm realizing maybe I need to run a little mini workshop on it just to kind of teach the basics, because it really is like our heart chakras are so magnetic. They're so powerful. And really running a pendulum is literally your heart giving that yes, no answer. And the pendulum is picking up on the magnetics of it. I mean, that's spirit science. That's not oogie boogie. Like that's spirit. That's real stuff.
Right. It's amazing.
Anyway, so what are you all talking about right now?
Okay, so I've been doing these lives every day, and just recently I just started, and mostly I've been telling stories, more chapters of the story. And, I'm a storyteller. So when I talk about the joust and everything, I'm telling stories, or I'm talking about my dreams, right? Mm-hmm. And we use a lot of special words. And so I was telling some new information in this, some of the newest chapter, and then I was taking questions. But let's have people hear from you. And so I was trying to give some questions, couple of questions I have. One question that you can consider is, how did you get involved with a pendulum, or, what's your story about how you developed your gifts? Maybe we should start there.
Oh yeah. So, I'm just remembering. The pendulum story, like I don't know if like everybody listening, like, when you first begin to cyclically wake up or intuitively wake up, it's just so magical. And like, to use your word, it's that dream space, and it's magical. And like, whenever I remember my early stories of coming to my gift, it gives me that warm feeling of coming home. Because like, when you get down, your spiritual or psychic path, 10 years, 15 years, like sometimes you begin to feel a little bit beat up. And to remember back to the beginning is just always really wonderful. And so for everybody out there, like the new 4Amers or the new people coming to the path, like the people, what I like to tell people when they're just beginning to wake up is like, enjoy it so much, because it's so delicious and it's so magical, and you'll never have that first time quite like that again. And it's so wonderful. And like if I could catch that and put it in a bottle, like I would do that. And I think remembering my early stories is kind of like that. So the pendulum story is this, like, so this is Durango, Colorado. So that's southwestern Colorado. And I truly am, I'm like that, extremely liberal Southwestern psychic. And it was right around 2007-ish, I'm thinking. And Durango, Colorado at that time had like a really rich spiritual community. I think they still do. And I was not only drinking the Kool-Aid, I was like swimming around in like I was just completely wrapped up in the Kool-Aid. And there was a woman, like I had ladies over for dinner one night, and there was a woman and she was talking about a pendulum, and the other ladies were like, pendulum, what's a pendulum? Show us a pendulum. And so, this lady, I can't even, was it Crystal or Christine or like a lady with some name like that. And she's like, oh yeah. And she would start telling a story like, she's like, yeah, if I don't ever have a pendulum, sometimes I just, wrap a string or tie a string around a rock, and I just, out of the parking lot, and I just use that. I mean, that was Durango, Durango. That's what I love about Durango, is because it was like make it up spirituality on the go kind of thing. And so she got her pendulum out of her purse, and she kind of like, she set up a test zone. I think it was like, we were looking at aromatherapy last night. She's like, we're going to use the pendulum to test out what aromatherapy is accurate for which person here at this table. And we're all like, ooh, okay. We're all in on it. And so she showed us that, first you want to run your pendulum and say, show me a no. And so so you'd say to the pendulum, show me a no, and it'll begin to swing and show the no direction. And then you stop it and you say, show me a yes, and then it'll swing and it'll show the other direction. And she's like, now you have your yes and your no axis. And then you go to each aromatherapy and you say, basically, is this aromatherapy, is this aromatherapy aligned with this person? And you do that for each aromatherapy. And we were able to figure out which aromatherapy was right for what person. And I was so taken by it. Like I didn't get just one pendulum. I got like 10 pendulums.
Of course.
I'm like, why would you gonna have one? Why not have 10? It's just so much fun. And that's what I realized. Like I started working with these different pendulums, and I realized, oh, these pendulums are tuned to, like, some of them didn't belong to me. I was like, oh, that one doesn't even like me. I don't need that pendulum. And so I was able to begin to figure out, like, some pendulums are tuned to us and some are not, and you got to pay attention to that. And then ever since then, and it was kind of off and on for a while. And then when was it? My ex-husband and I, we got to Paonia, and I got into the thick of my business, and I really started using my pendulum to figure out the avenues of my business, and the, like, what I should be doing in my business and not be doing in my, like, you can really use the pendulum to figure out your business structure. Like, I don't run every single day. I use my pendulum to check what I'm doing with my business structure. Like, where do I put my energy? Where do I put my money? So it has some very tangible, practical aspects to it. I swear to God, my pendulum has made me money and saved me money. I swear to God, my pendulum has saved my ass.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
there's the story. So like, and everybody listening, you know, we all have these origin stories about our gifts, and you know, pay attention to your origin stories. They're like really, really important. I think a lot of us could say we've got like PhDs in the intuitive arts because we have so many gifts that we're working. You know, you can't just do one thing. You've got at least a half a dozen things, and then you intermix them, right? And so like that's you know, that's what I do. Like I'm doing psychic and intuitive work with the body stuff, with the money, with the business, with the pendulum, and like you don't compartmentalize it. You kind of you mix it together. Like I think that's what you're doing. Like intuitive, like I mean, you're doing like intuitive and story, and you said you teach classes. Is that what you're doing?
Oh yeah,
too?
I teach a lot of classes. I teach mostly medical intuition, indigenous medical intuition, Akashic records, medical mediumship. That's what I mostly teach these days. But I've taught everything. I've taught psychic development. I've taught mediumship. Yeah, I've been trained in a lot of things. I wanted to say though, I just saw a comment go by where someone said they couldn't follow you because of your privacy settings. That's not true, is it? People can
Like
follow you.
tonight?
Yeah. People can follow you, right?
Yeah, I mean, my app, my platform is set on a public setting.
Okay, so that maybe they had one of your imposters. Maybe one of your imposters was on a private setting.
I like, and that's, you know, Jennifer, that's shocking to me that I would have imposters because like,
Right.
see,
I have so many.
Like, you know, what was it, like September? I barely had 500 followers. So the thought of me having imposters, like I'm like that's laughable.
Right? I know, it's crazy. When I first got them a few weeks ago, I didn't quite believe it, and now it's just like it's a really big problem now. But let's not talk about that.
Okay.
Let's focus on the positive. I wanted us to talk a little bit about some of the things that we've been getting about the joust, and maybe let's focus first on like right now, what's the future, because I just got some new information last night that I was sharing before you came on, and this is for entertainment purposes only. We're just telling stories here and sharing our dreams. But I got some new information that I thought really was reassuring because it was about how incredibly complicated the situation is and how many players are involved. But I'd like to hear from you if you have any new information, or maybe it's information you just had already about, you know, who are all the characters that are involved in this situation we find ourselves in.
Okay. Well, what's really interesting is like coming on tonight, like I was in the middle of making a video right about this topic, and I cut my video off to come do this live.
Oh, thank you.
So let me hang on just a sec. Let me just tune in with team, and like team, can I just share here what I'm going to record on the video anyway? I mean, it's like,
and then everybody go and watch her video too. So everybody go and follow Dana Stovern, The Magic of Somatic Money. Go and follow her and go. She has so many videos. So I encourage people to go back and watch while you're tuning in. I'm just going to talk to them. Go back and watch her older videos because she's been doing pendulum checks on the election for the last few weeks and getting really detailed information. And you're going to want to go back and look at those old ones but also keep following and see what else she posts.
Okay. Yeah. And that would be good. And when I moved across the 10,000 mark, I set up a playlist. And so I put all those pendulum videos in a playlist. So you just go to the top of the page and look for the pendulum playlist. And if I've got imposters, I would say, look at my count. My count right now, I think I'm like at 11,300 or 11,400. So that's where my count is at. And the first pinned video is the one about my initial, like what the psychics saw, and the 300,000 views. So you'll know that that's my actual count. But let me just kind of tune in with team here. And so going to go down the list.
Okay.
First off, Spirit Team is wanting us to emotionally prepare.
Yes.
Like I was driving around today doing errands and I could feel it like, I literally had the feeling of like, holy F, this is going to happen. Like it's in motion right now. Now, as far as the date of when it lands, I don't know. And I think we should stop doing the date thing because like we get all excited and then we get disappointed. Like my feeling at this point is it's going to happen. And Spirit Team, like I can just feel them. Spirit Team right now, their main thing for us right now, they are so concerned about us being emotionally prepared. And it goes back to what you were saying. It's like, this thing is so much larger than we can understand. And this will put it in perspective for you. Consider this, like up to this point, we have really been focused on the main villainous character. We'll just put it that way.
Exactly.
We've been focused on the main villainous character. The main villainous character in this situation is the evidence. He is not the one that they are after.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I was just saying that before you came on.
Okay, so we're getting the same information. There it is. We're getting the same information.
Yeah, I said he's the villain that we're focused on, but he's the puppet of much bigger villains, and those are actually the focus.
Yes, and they need him because he's evidence.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the election that's why the contest had to happen. That's why the great thing, the great ceremony that happened on Monday. That's why that had to happen and go through. And I don't want to make any predictions, but the main thing that I can really tell people is like, we've really got to change our framework and go, no, this is a whole system. I don't know if anybody else did. This is a movie from a long time ago, but remember the movie called Spotlight about the Boston Globe? Boston Globe has a section of their paper that's called Spotlight, and Spotlight was the one that broke the stories about all of the Catholic priests. Okay. And there's a scene in that movie where the top editor is talking with the reporters and saying, no, we're not going for just a couple of bad actors here. We're going for the system. I think that's what's happening right now. And that's why it's taking so long. That's why they've been so tight-lipped. That's why they've only been able to give us breadcrumbs. But this is like, the top guy that we see, he's just the evidence. I can tell let me tell a funny haha. The funny haha is that my Spirit Team refers to as wrist bracelets. My Spirit Team comes, they're like, talk along, and they're like, and when the wrist bracelets happen, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? And I'm like, oh, they're talking about
Yeah.
Yeah, and their Spirit Team has basically told me that it's all in motion. And I gotta tell you guys, like as I was driving around today and I could feel it happening in my body, I went from that space of elation to that space of nauseousness. Like, because when it begins to happen, we're gonna begin to go, oh, and it's gonna roll through our bodies, and it's going to be more than we can take in. And part of this has to do with the fact that we've been used to our government running in a certain way with certain people and certain timing and a certain system, and the script that, like Jennifer is, like the storyteller's beginning to tell a new script. We're gonna all have to be ready for a new script to begin to happen, and that literally may make us feel not nauseous. And so my spirit team, like the video I'm going to make tonight, is going to be more about we need to be emotionally prepared for this thing to be so much larger and move us so much more than we anticipate. The last thing I will say about it is last night spirit team was walking me through something. We landed on something that began to be called the viral load. So in our houses of government, there has been a virus running rampant in one of the houses more than the other. And that viral load is going to come unraveled. And for the folks who follow me, like the last big video I did, not the last one, but the previous one before that, I talked about the house cleaning. And spirit team leaning over my shoulder, looking into, the House of Representatives and them saying, "You're looking right at it." And I'm like, what am I looking at? And then last night they're telling me about this viral load. This has been a virus that has been happening for a very, very long time. And that virus is about ready to begin to unravel. And here's my concern. I get the feeling when the unraveling begins. Spirit team said last night, they said there's going to be a lot of people that get hurt. There's going to be a lot of people that get hurt or hurt from this. And I think the thing that none of us can anticipate is how much further and longer this is going to unravel than any of us can expect at this point. So
Thank you.
That's what I got for you.
Yeah,
How
so
does
everybody
that-
go and follow Magic of Somatic Money when you get a chance. She's been doing pendulum checks on the joust for weeks now. And like I was saying earlier, she and I get a lot of the same information, and maybe that's my ego, but that makes me really like her. Because it's nice to have a sister who's getting the same information, because this is a very lonely path to be on when you're doing this type of work and you're getting having all these dreams, and you don't know if you're the only crazy person having these dreams.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, Dana, oh, you were going to say something?
Well, two things. Some people are saying hurt physically. I don't know. It seems to be more, Spirit Team keeps talking about the emotional load. Like, people need to be prepared that they may feel emotionally hurt enough to make that physicality very nauseous kind of thing. And then I wanted to ask you, Jennifer, like everything that I just shared there, like, is that in line with a lot of what you've been picking up on too?
Yeah, I'm seeing something a little more dramatic than you are, maybe. Because what I keep being told in the story that I'm being told is that we have to go through something before we have our happy ending. And I'm seeing some type of disruption. And I don't know the exact nature of the disruption. I can't tell if it's the electrical, if it's the internet, or if it's actually conflict. But it might be a little of each. And so I do feel like I get. What do you want to say about that?
Well, I was going to say on that. Okay, so yesterday I set up scenarios. Like, I set up picture scenarios and I started pendulum checking them, and I couldn't get a clear read. But I would say that there is a strong potential for. I feel like there's going to be a window of time where we don't know what's going on, or there may be no one at the helm, or it may go dark for a little while, or things are not lining up and it doesn't look good. It's going to be that in-between place. Like, my pendulum did pick up on that a bit, but I'm leaning more towards the conservative. Like, I go, man, I lean more towards the conservative side, and I can hear Spirit Team go, no, you need to prepare them, Dana.
Yeah, you know how I am, right? I focus on hope, and I focus on helping people keep our energy up. And so I don't focus on
Right.
doom and gloom and conspiracies and this, but at the same time, like you, I have been getting this message that I do have to help people prepare, that we can't just talk about the happy ending. I mean, I'm going to say until my dying breath that I believe in the happy ending. I
Oh,
believe in the Lotus POTUS, and
yeah.
I have not wavered on that.
Yep.
But I have seen us having to go through more challenging times before we get to that. And so I've been in this kind of like, oh, do I tell people that? I don't want to be negative. And so, like with my family, of course I come on here to talk to the world, but I have to, I'm my family's psychic, and
Yeah.
and they're all counting on me. So, I got everybody, solar generators for Christmas. And I have encouraged my family members to stock up on the normal things that we stock up for emergencies, like water, batteries, candles, canned goods. And I'm glad I did, because now where I live in Los Angeles, we're dealing with 4 major fires. A lot of people are displaced. A lot of people don't have power. My
It
god
went to
sister,
6.
my god sister lost her home last night.
Wow.
They're all, it's terrible. And so I feel like I'm already seeing some of it right here where I live.
Yeah.
That stuff that we needed to be prepared for.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would just encourage people to do those normal preparations. Like if you live if you live someplace where they have hurricanes, you have those things, right, that you do. If you have
Yep.
tornadoes, if you have fires like we do, there are things that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have our paperwork with us. We're supposed to have our water and our candles and whatnot. And
No,
so,
I would I totally agree with you on that. The whole being prepared in a very practical way is so very, very important. And I would concur with you. Like once I went through the reading last night, I could very clearly see Our Lady very clearly installed in March. Like it's a done deal. Like the feeling I get from Spirit Team at this point is like, it's a done deal. It is already happening. It is on the way. End of story. And they're of the like Spirit Team of the mind. They're of the mind of like, we're still talking about this. We're still talking about the what if. They're like, no, people, this is happening. It's time to prepare.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that as Americans, I mean, a lot of my followers are Americans. I have people from other countries, but I can say that as Americans, we have a hard time with disruption. We're really spoiled. If you travel at all, you'll understand that electrical outages and water issue, grocery shortage, these are all normal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But we're not used to it. And so whenever we deal with something like that, we kind of have a tendency to kind of panic. And this is what we can't do. So like, remember during the pandemic when everybody was like, oh my God, we got to get toilet paper. And there was no toilet paper because everybody panicked. We can't do that. There's no need to panic. Right.
Yeah.
But I remember being in a hurricane in Florida, and it was just 1 week without everything I was used to. No power, no transportation, no gas stations, couldn't use our bank cards, couldn't go to the bank, couldn't get money, couldn't get food. The food had spoiled on the shelves because it was Florida, where it's the humidity is so high. There was mold growing on the walls within a day. In my hotel, I was in a hotel, and no news. And it was so shocking to go from like this wealthy country to this third world country overnight, where we just didn't have any basic services. And it's hard for people sometimes to handle that because they've had no experience of it. But of course, after a week, we were fine. We just had to get through that week. And this is the same kind of thing that we're going to have here. There are going to be disruptions. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to be disruptions to what we're used to, but we'll be fine. But we do have to be mentally prepared. Like right now in Los Angeles, there are people who are losing their power, and then they have to figure out how to live without power. right? Or people who have to go and stay and sleep on somebody's living room floor because they've been evacuated. Like, we have to be able to handle things like that with grace. And we want to be loving and patient. And that's why one of the things my guides keep saying is we need to form community. Because if there is a disruption, like say our internet goes down, we feel cut off, right? Because we're used to being on these apps and communicating with people. And so we have to have neighbors that we're friends with. We got to have friends so that if we lose our internet for a few days, we don't feel overwhelmed with loneliness.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the kind of preparation. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Pardon me?
Do you have any questions for anything I've gotten over the weeks, or anything that you want to compare?
No, I'm going to do that really weird and wonderful, and also I think you'll get it understandable thing. All of a sudden my spirit team is like, maybe you can see, all of a sudden my spirit team is like, you're done, Dana. Time to get off. Conversation is over.
Thank you so much for coming. It's been great.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting me. It's really been wonderful to be here and say hello to everybody. I know it's not the last time we'll do it. And many blessings to everyone. And you stay safe, Jennifer. Many thoughts and prayers to you and your family.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dana. Okay,
Bye.
everybody go and follow her.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, that was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. I could have talked to her all night. And now I don't know how to get back to the screen where I can see the comments. I can't see them. I just see this big picture of me. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. And we got about, maybe we'll go like another 20 minutes. And I've been doing about 2 hours, and there's like all these people on the list of guests. But see, here's the thing. I don't want to invite people up unless I know them or I know your site, your channel. So you'll have to forgive me if I don't invite you up this first time. But if you want to do one of these, see, like Debbie, aka Gigi, I feel like I've seen you in my lives and I've seen you in my comments, but I don't remember if I've gone to your channel. So I want to make sure that I only invite people up that I've looked at your channel. Just because, I don't know. Should I worry about it? How do I get myself off of this this multi-guest platform? I don't know how to. Let me see if I go like this. Oh, there we go. There's your comments. I just figured it out. That's how we always figure it out, right? We just start pushing buttons. We gotta do the meditation. Thanks for the reminder. We gotta do the meditation. So I've been doing these short meditations just for us to visualize together and breathe together. So we're gonna spend just a few minutes. It's not gonna be a long meditation, but just spend a few minutes with this. And this is something I recommend that we do every day. And my guide specifically told me to do this with everybody. So let's just take a few deep breaths. If you can just, when you're ready, take a nice deep breath. Inhaling slowly and deeply. Breathe in relaxing blue air and breathe out gray smoke. You're breathing in peace and relaxation and breathing out all that does not serve you. And just focus on your breath and just notice how peaceful it feels to inhale that beautiful light and to exhale that smoke. Just feel yourself getting lighter and brighter. And take a moment just to focus on the crown of your head and to connect the crown of your head to your higher self. Just imagine a cylinder of bright white light going up from the top of your head, up, up, up. And above you, notice a giant golden sun. This is your higher self, your source, where you come from and where you return, your source of infinite wisdom. You're just going to connect your cylinder of white light to the source, higher self. And once you do, you can begin to charge yourself up like a battery. Charge up. All of that divine source light is moving down into the crown of your head, moving all through your body, spinning and expanding each chakra down and around you in a giant bubble of rainbow light. With each inhale, you draw in more source energy through your crown. With each exhale, you expand your bubble, your aura out, growing bigger and brighter and bolder. And in this expanded state, you have access to healing and to wisdom, to insights and intuition. And you can just receive. Now, in this expanded state, let's begin to dream a little. Let's visualize our future. Let's look into the path before us and let's see what's coming. Let's move our vision until we see the beautiful outcome that we know is coming. We can see our Lotus Queen on the dais. We can see her with crowds around her cheering. We can see ourselves and our family members dancing in the streets, celebrating, toasting our drinks, laughing, patting each other on the back. We did it, we did it, we did it. It's a jubilant scene. And just pay attention to anything else you see in the future. Whatever images you're shown, just make a note so that you can prepare. Look at the path before you and prepare for what's coming. But feel the joy, the sense of accomplishment, of peace. Allow yourself to feel that sense of success, completion. It feels so good. Oh, we just can't stop laughing, smiling and hugging one another. And there's so much love. Oh, we just have so much love for one another and so much hope. And it's so, so beautiful. Now we're going to bring that wonderful feeling back with us, back into our awareness of our current body, of our current time and place, the chair you're sitting on. But we can remain expanded and tapped in and tuned in to our higher self. And we can continue to feel that beautiful joy. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. and return your attention to the present moment. And if you'd like, maybe put some comments about what you experienced or what you saw. If you want to share your vision with us, we'd all like to hear it. I'm sure we could all benefit. Okay, I'm going to return to the questions. I have a question from, oh, I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. I know I couldn't stop smiling either. um, it's a challenge, but we have to keep tapping into that, right? I tap into that all the time, and I want you all to tap into that future as much as you can. Like, I know you have to work, you got to take care of the kids, whatever, but just whenever you have a few moments, you're sitting in your car, you're waiting for something, you're in the bathroom, just give yourself a couple minutes, to tap in and visualize that beautiful future. Allow yourself to expand your light and to ground. Give yourself that moment. I want to answer this question by Linda K X100, because I've gotten this question before in other lives, and so I want to address it. They're asking about the incarceration of souls who supported the naked emperor. I'm not sure exactly what the question is, so I'm going to be interpreting it. So Linda, feel free to put another follow-up if I've gotten it wrong. So I don't believe there's any, it sounds like when I think of incarceration, I think of punishment, and I don't think there's any punishment for any souls. So I have done a lot of work. I'm a medium, and I also work with the Akashic Records, where I'm able to sit in on people's post-life conferences where after they've died, they were discussing their life. And I've just worked with a lot of deceased people. And I could tell you that I'm 100% certain that nobody is punished after they pass. So I don't know if that was your intention or if you had a different question. But you may also be asking, and so I'll also try to interpret it this way. Oh, incarnation. Oh, thank you, TG. So it was a typo. Okay, let me look back and see if I can make sense of it. The incarnation of people. Why? Oh, yes. Yeah, so there was a question. Like, I'm talking about how we incarnated for this moment. And some people ask, well, did they also incarnate for this moment? Absolutely. Absolutely. We all did. And what we don't understand sometimes when we're living this human life is that from a soul perspective, we're all just lights. And some of us come here to play villains. Some of us come here to play heroes. Some of us come here to be bystanders or witnesses. And we all have different roles to play in the story. So we all have a character, right? Like, as a soul, we pick a character to play in this story. But the character isn't who we are. It's just a role that we've taken on. And sometimes we take on the role of a character that others might view as a villain because it's going to move the story forward, right, in a significant way. So I'll tell you a story about that related to who we see as our main villain, who Dana just pointed out and who I just pointed out is not the main villain. He's just the visible villain. And that's the naked emperor. And so people might be asking, well, why did he incarnate to play that character? Well, I'll tell you a little story about 2016. I'm from a family that we're always involved. We do, poll working, like we work at the polls and we do campaigning for candidates and we're activists. And so we're always busy, active, involved. And so I was with my sister working at one of the polls, and we were in the role of like manager poll worker. So we were in charge of getting all of the votes to the headquarters at the end of the evening, and we had to count them. We had to do all this work. And so when you do that work, you start at like 7 in the morning, I know it's dark when we get there. Like the sun's not even up when we get to the polling place to set up. And we don't finish till midnight. And so we're driving home at midnight and we're getting the news. And it was so shocking, right? And I didn't see it coming at all. And I was very disappointed in myself. But I think because I was so attached to a certain outcome, I didn't see it. But there's another reason I didn't see it, and that's because there was finagling in that joust as well. And so the first thing I did, almost the first thing I did when I got home in this story, is I asked my guides. And at the time, the way that I got information was through automatic writing. And I work in a lot of different ways, and that was the way I was working that particular night. And so they had me write down. And I was very shocked by what I got, because I got all of this jubilation. And they were saying, now is the time, now is the time. And there's this sentence from typing. When we were back in the day, when you were learning how to use a typewriter, you had to learn this sentence so you could learn all the keys. And I know this because my mother was a secretary. And it was something like, now is the time for all good people to come to the aid of their country, or something. And I might have it wrong, but it's a story. And I got a line kind of like that. And they said, oh, we're excited because this person incarnated in order to be a kind of trigger point for us. And they said that the resistance that was going to grow around this character was going to help us to expand our consciousness. And when I got that message, I was like, what? How could this villain be a good thing? But you see, they're explaining it from an expanded perspective, that sometimes we need a villain to show up in order for us to have that contrast, so that we can realize that we don't want that, and we can get really, really, really clear on what we want and don't want. And then it helps us to kind of coalesce our visions. And they were saying that that was the role he was playing. And we did see that to a certain extent during those 4 years, but we really saw it recently with the Lotus Queen, right? We saw this huge shift in our country, and we saw all of these people coming out in support of her, and not just her, but coming out in support of a vision that was the opposite of his vision. And so it took 8 years for what they told me was going to happen in, I think, in the most dramatic form, which was the incredible activity around that campaign. If you were involved at all, I mean, I was very, very aware of the incredible change, because I've been involved in a lot of campaigns. And it was different. It was very different. And I felt like, oh, finally, I can see what they were trying to explain to me all those years ago. They were trying to explain to me that sometimes we have a villainous character who is there to push the story along, and is there to push other people along in their growth. And so this is what the purpose is of these characters. And so when you see these red hat characters, you have to remember that they also served a purpose. They are also serving a purpose in the global shift in consciousness. It's just a different purpose. And there are a lot of people out there who, if they didn't have those dramatically, I have to be careful about the words I use in my story. And just a reminder, this is for entertainment purposes only. But in this story, the red hat people seem to be aligned with a certain vibration, a certain low vibration. And because of that, their presence in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our workplaces had an effect on the people around them, which forced people to kind of shift more, to kind of shift in their thinking about those issues. And so, for example, I'm trying to figure out a way to talk about this without using words that could be problematic to certain people. Like I can tell you about one issue that impacts me as a person with a certain shade. I saw that there were people who in the past might have said, "Oh, I don't have those attitudes about skin. I don't, that's not how I feel." But they did. They just didn't really know how they was more subconscious, right? Unconscious bias, right? But what I saw was when we had the red hats go out in such an extreme on that issue with, oh, these people are bad and these people are bad and these people are bad and these are all bad people, just because of this very superficial thing. What happened was a lot of other people, in response to that, because they wanted to separate themselves from that extremely hostile, right, perspective, they were like, oh no, I can't accept that. And it caused people to heighten their consciousness around that issue. And that's just one. Another one that's just probably even more obvious to so many more people is the issue of gender, right? We really had people in response to a lot of red hat decisions across this realm by decision makers, right? Proclamations that were written that were targeting one gender. Because of that, women came together in a big way, and allies began to be more outspoken because of this presence of this red hat agenda of suppressing the women. So when we look at it that way, we can see how these characters play an important role in the story. And so then you can begin to understand why they incarnated. So I hope that explains it. And what time is it? Oh, it's almost time for us to stop. And I don't know if our moderators are still here, but if you want to pin a question for me, feel free. Otherwise, I can pick one. Sandra, I just want to clarify your question. Did the last woman say Lotus would be taking charge of our realm until March? No, in March. She said we would have to wait till March. And I just wanted to remind people that I put all these recordings on YouTube, so you can go back and watch the full 2 hours. I've already put 2 up, and this is the third one. Lindsay Ruffles is asking, did you mention if you still see anything for tomorrow? I did mention that earlier, that a few days ago I got the 9th as a significant day, and that's really all I got. I didn't get any details about it. I did share earlier in the live some of the new information I've gotten since last night, so I'm not going to repeat that. But I'm going to be doing a lot of lives these days, so I'll be continuing to share. Yeah, someone, user 175 said, "Oh, I heard other psychics say it'll take until March." I have heard other people say this. I'm not getting a timeline. As I pointed out earlier, I don't really get dates. I get more big picture things. I get, what's going on, who did it, and why. And then I get, what the outcome is going to be and what characters are involved in making the outcome happen. And so that's the kind of information I deliver. But I have a lot of videos up about the joust and what's going on, so you could check those out. Here we go. Someone, oh, I got a community guideline violation, or is that someone's name? For saying now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. So that was the sentence they used to type. With all of us waking up, it will bring the new earth. Trek Tracer. I agree. That's one way of putting it. Dolores Cannon used that terminology, new earth, and I think other people have. Um, oh, Lori said she quit the recorder's office to avoid working the contest. Yeah, my sister also said to me, absolutely not. We're not working this contest. It's going to be too much, too much. Yeah, soul contracts, shiny. Yeah, we have soul contracts. Sometimes we have soul contracts with people. Sometimes we have them with groups. Um, and then we have a purpose that we come here to fulfill. And so, and yeah, Debbie, oh no, Lemon Gelato said the existence of darkness is needed in order for there to be light. Yeah, so this is kind of the nature of our 3D world is we tend to work with contrast here. I'm hoping in the future we won't have to, but this is kind of one of the operating rules of planet Earth is that we grow through obstacles and conflict, and we grow through contrast between shadows and light. Um, so yeah. So user 337 is asking, did the Naked Emperor not truly win the 2016 pie eating contest? That's what I was told in my dream. And I was told that although that was the case, and although there was evidence for that, it was just brushed under the rug because there were several people in positions of power who felt that it was in alignment with their agenda. And so they were willing to cover it up. And the reason this was told to me is because they wanted to compare it to the current situation. They said it's not the same this time because it turns out that this time his agenda is not actually in alignment with that of a lot of powerful people. Even those who thought it was going to be are now recognizing that his agenda is not really about anything that was said in the months preceding the joust, but his agenda is not even his agenda, it's the agenda of the power brokers who are actually controlling him, and that's the Starboy and Rasputin and the other thieves. Someone's trying to invite me to co-host. I can't do that right now. I'm in a live. I don't understand that. So they wanted to point that out to me to say we're in a different situation right now because this time there are a lot of power brokers who are recognizing that they are not, their agenda is not in alignment with his because his agenda is irrelevant because the agenda is that of Rasputin and Starboy, and their agenda is world domination. It's not an agenda that has anything even to do with our realm. It's not about us. It's not about what's going to help our country. It's about world domination. Oh, I love this. Becky said she visualized you gathering your soul tribe of sisters in a circle. I hugged you in gratitude. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, and thank you, Lisa Ann. My YouTube account is Jennifer Lisa Vest, vest like you wear, Jennifer with 2 N's. And I'm gonna close out. Oh, there's something about mods can't pin questions while you have requests. I don't know what requests are. But thank you everybody for coming. And I've been doing lives every night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'm planning to keep doing them as long as my guides ask me to, as long as I feel like they're helping people. And so I appreciate you all showing up, and please show up for each other. And I'm in request mode. Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm still learning, I'm still learning how to use the lives. So you got to bear with me. But I'm so happy we were able to have Dana tonight, and I'm going to be having different dreaming women on here every night. So I got a few that are already lined up, and then of course others will want to join. So just if you want to reach out to me and tell me who you are, and then I'll look at your channel. And thank you, everybody. Swipe left. I don't know how to get out of request mode. I don't know how to do a lot of things. So I'm gonna put it on pause, and then it'll close after 5 minutes. And I could just close it, but I've noticed that when I put it on pause, because I didn't know how to close it until someone today told me you just go out of TikTok and it closes it. I don't know if that's true, because then I got an error message later saying, "Oh, your live was something." So I'm gonna pause, and then that gives people you can leave comments for each other. I can also see the comments, but I'll see you again tomorrow. Unable to pause. See, I'm in some weird mode. I don't know how to get out of it. I know I'm in like go live with guests. Oh, so maybe I can change that. I don't know. So I guess I'll just leave. But thank you, everybody. No, I didn't leave. See, that doesn't work. Guess we have to stay. So if anyone can tell me how to end the live, because apparently I'm not doing it right. Oh, it's so silly. Oh, here we go.